Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is the designer for From the Depths. And my thoughts today, after a little bit of campaign work and seeing some of the aircraft all disappearing all over the place, is I'm thinking today of the carrier style system. Had a bit of rethought from our initial designs with the carrier craft. I'll recap some of those. First things first, down in the description will be time codes, down there, for those that don't want to hear me talking about what I have an idea for and just want to see it in action. So you can go down there and have a look. Yes. Right, so my thoughts. Yes, the original idea with the carrier was it would spawn in the aircraft as it required. The problem is they're very expensive and they take quite a long time to produce, and I just don't have enough resources at this point in the game. So I've got two choices. One is make smaller craft, which I may have a look at creating some drones. Most of the carrier craft have been around the 500 block area, so maybe I need to look at something obviously a lot more limited, but somewhere near the 200 block limits, if it's possible to create some crafts around 200, 250 to do the same jobs. That won't alleviate the resource issue so much, but with the block. The other problem with the sheer size of these craft is the vehicle itself would need to be massive, the game at the moment is limited to 20,000 blocks in a game, so allowing for 10,000 on each side. I wouldn't be surprised if the carrier would be nearly the whole of that 20,000, so it wouldn't have any blocks left to spawn in the other craft. So there's a few little issues, so to speak, with the original idea. So my second idea, my new idea, the idea I'm working on now, my thoughts, is more of a carry-all style of vehicle. So it's going to be a floating carrier which has docking stations for existing vehicles. Its main aim is going to be to carry the vehicles into the area, docked in position, and then once the battle starts it just releases the docking, and zoom, they are off. We'll have and also once it finishes, it retrieves all the vehicles back to the dock position to be repaired. The repairing is a key part of this actually as well. At the moment when I'm repairing things I have to wait for them. With this one it will put them in docks, use tentacles, and in battle if I need to pull ships back, I can just pull them back and hey presto, they're all back in position, getting repaired pretty quickly at the end of the battle. Few things we need to look into. The ship size is going to be fairly large, but the docking apparatus would potentially, because it's got a range, has quite range, we don't have to make a massive ship. I'm going to make it quite large. I'm not going to make this small. The underneath, I'm thinking the underneath is going to be armour mainly, and defensive weapons. It's not going to go very far, it's just to go up. That's its only requirement, is to go up and hold an altitude of 450 or so meters up away from the enemy, and at this stage that could be its only requirement, and dock 6 maybe 8 vehicles. So it's not really a mothership. It is it's more of a mothership I suppose, rather than being a carrier. In that sense it's a docking repair ship as much, rather than being a traditional carrier style. So anyway, that's the idea. So we're going to have to work on the basic hull first to get an idea of how much space we're going to need. What I'm going to build is a central area to hold most of the crucial components, and then spread out from that, and that's going to be underneath, maybe some of it on the top, but primarily underneath. and just get this large structure flying up, and then we'll look at the docking apparatus. So let's start with the magical block. Put it straight up to more. Okay, where are we? New object, vehicle, go, whoops, F3. Go to the magical start block. Now we're going to start, to be honest, we've just got to get an idea of size of this vehicle. We are going to use some metal, but there's going to be a lot of wood in this as well, just to use up some of the items. But let's start with metal block. Let's start with the central vehicle. So I'm thinking somewhere around that sort of size. We'll see how that sort of feels. It's going to be quite wide, because most of the docking vehicles are going to be on the top rather than the bottom. Most of the vehicles will just be released, and they'll either jet forward or fall down a bit and then have to go. We'll have to look at the various vehicles, how they perform and how they release from the system. Okay, so that should be enough as a starting point. So those that jet off, we would put on some docking stations on the top. Those that need a drop, we put on the side, and they drop down the side. Okay, so if we start with something in that sort of scale, now we just need to make this thrust up. So we're going to use basically use some thrusters pointing down at this stage. I debated various systems, and I've got a hankering, as I do, for having some thruster vectors like we had before. But this is going to be slightly different. This is to work with pitch angles. So if the vehicle, and this is the front here, should pitch up, then the front, let's see, we need to compensate. So both the front and rear thrusters could move up or down, or cut power, increase power, etc., to compensate. So I might have a look at that as a possibility, using thrust, so it tries to keep it within a couple of degrees of central. So if it goes too far up, the front could cut. If it goes too far down, the rear cuts. So just basically keeping it relatively stable. Now we can use command blocks for that. Let's just see what options we've got in the command block. There is a new one. If I just put one down, there we go. Couple of ones under propulsion components. We've got set drive fraction. So we might be able to use that to set all the drives in a particular area to a particular fraction of their speed, as an example. So we can go from 1 to reduce it down a little bit, depending on the pitch. So that's number one we could use. We can also obviously use spin blocks. So if an object is not perfectly in the right place, it changes the spin on the spin block. So that's also a possibility of how we can do it, and this will be activated on pitch angle. Now that works on the pitch angle. It would not work for your roll angles. So roll angles are going to have to be dealt with using ailerons and jet stabilizers. Basically, I think we're going to have quite a few jet stabilizers to hold this in position. There is one other possibility of just making this totally jet stabilizer based, which I don't like. No, I think we'll go for the thruster based system, and we're going to test it straight away. So I just want to test one basic item, which is if we put a air jet engine. We'll put a few jet engines just simplistically at this moment, just straight on the front. Nothing put them there, and exactly the same on the rear. So this should be effectively totally balanced, because we've got the same on the front, the same on the rear. Right, we need to build a quick little engine in the center, just enough just to power all of these. Engines, engine block. Whoops, that's the wrong place. Just there. Right, have we got the crank in the right place? Let's see. Potentially not. We'll put a cylinder on there, see if it connects. Not connected to an engine block. Okay, so turn that round. Yep, that's is now at least connected. That's fine. That has been noted in the bug reports. So someone has, Nick has noticed it, I think. Or well, no, other people. I haven't seen Nick post about it, but other people have saying agreeing. Okay, we don't need much power here. This is just a starting point. This ship will have a lot of power. We're going to have to give it shields and stuff like that, just to make sure it can survive very well, whilst, you know, up in the air, basically. It's going to be in harm's way. This is going to be a relatively large vehicle, and obviously, yeah, as I say, we don't want it being thing. I'm going to put some possibly some of those AA defences, like on the Condor, and various places on it. I think that would be quite interesting. So it can shoot down at anybody from on top. Okay, I've done more than I needed to here, but hey, why change a habit of a lifetime? Okay, so we've got 1,000 points of damage. See, the numbers are correct now. He must have fixed that. So it's saying 1,011 there and 1,012 on the side. Okay, that's cool. Right, so now control blocks. We're going to make sure these are all on main. That's one problem we have. Now we're just going to make this try and hover fairly low height, just to try and make this a hovering system sort of thing, just as a test. It should easily be able to hover. If this works, then we'll push forward from that point. So this is testing the hovering system using the drive fraction on the engines to balance the pitch. So we're going to have a number of control blocks on here. Let's set these ones to main as well, because it doesn't get mirrored. Now what I might do is actually artificially make this it's going to be partially unbalanced, because that engine in the center isn't perfectly in the center, so it's going to be slightly unbalanced. Getting there. So this is almost done. What we will do next, once I've done this last one, is just to stop it rolling, is we'll put some jet stabilizers, and we'll just put these all over the side. Not all over, but we'll put enough just to keep this from rolling side to side. So that should have put that both sides. That's cool. Right, so let's go for real simple control blocks. Automatic control. So the first one is just going to be a simple altitude control, and that's going to do if the altitude is less than 100. Then where are we? We're just going to say desired speed of airspeed will be 5, and if altitude is greater than 100, Design speed, airspeed is, we're just going to say 0.5 at the moment. I don't know if that's going to be too much, we'll see. Okay, now we've got 2 more blocks we're going to need to do, and we're going to control the front and rear separately. That's my idea. So here, this is the front. So if pitch angle goes larger than 5, then propulsion components within, say, 10 blocks, which should be enough, set at 50%. There we go. And the other end is if pitch angle is smaller than, what do you say, 5 degrees, -5, then propulsion components within 10, I think I had the other one, set to 2.5. Okay, so what happens if I release this? We're going up quite nicely. We're going up quite straight. And when we hit 100, we'll keeping that nice and straight. Okay. So what if I bugger around with this now? So I'm now setting this so that, there we go. So let's see if I can make that a little bit even less. So -1. Oh, it didn't like that. Okay, we'll get that out there. So now I've set a little delay for that timer, basically because it flipped over. And we're going to say a level of 1. And also we're going to set these airspeed ones to be a delay of 2. So they, no, we'll set these a delay of 1 as well, a delay of 1. Come on. Flip around the right way round. Okay, so the idea of that, of having that delay in there, is I can now, if it goes too far off the central, so we've got these set to hold it at 1. Let's see if we can let it so that it goes out of control again. So the frontal lift, no, that's obviously not enough control on there, not enough difference, so that's 0.5. so if it goes, so that was if the angle of the angle, so if the angle goes larger than, say, 5, then set drive fraction to be 0 within the 10, so it basically cut them out. Same on the rear. If the pitch angle is smaller than 5 minus, then, whoops, that's not a 1, it's a minus, then propulsion within 10, should be good enough, set drive fraction 0. Okay. And the other one we want to say is if it goes back the other way, so these were set, this is what I forgot to set, is the opposite direction. That's doing -1, so if it now goes to, if pitch angle is larger than -1, propulsion component, set drive fraction back up to 1 within 10. That's what I forgot, is that I was setting it down and not allowing it to go back up again. So this is larger than 1 degree, so if pitch angle is smaller than 1 degree, effectively range 10, propulsion component, set drive fraction, back up to 1. Okay, so basically now I have control of this. So I set it so if it goes up and then a maximum, you know, a little bit more advanced. So it takes it down a little bit, then it does it a lot more. So let's just see how this works. A little bit of wobble there, considering that these are misbalanced, intentionally misbalanced. Let's see if we can really get this misbalanced. Let's put some weight on this as well. Let's say it gets a whole shitload of weight on here as well. There you go. That should be really badly balanced now. And it's still holding that 100 relatively good. Yes, it's a bit wobbly. And I would have it sink, but I'm happy with that. So that's the basic concept. That will work. Of controlling the vehicle's balance just using control blocks. That's cool. That's cool. I'm glad that worked. I really am. I'm glad that worked. So now what we can do is put these a little bit nicer somewhere, well, rather than putting them on the end. I mean, for the moment, I might just leave them here just for the moment, just for testing purposes. But put them possibly in some recessed areas. So, like, if I go like this, so one away from two, let's go one away from the end here, and make a hole. Let's make the hole first, so there. Oh no. How long have we made this at the moment? Yeah, I think we can go a little bit longer. So let's go there, and say there and there. There and up one. Obviously I haven't got to worry about them at the moment, and I can move those inside, and then we can put the air jet engines pointing downwards. Eight should do it for the moment. We can test how many we need once we have this more built, and then we can always create an extra block here, etc. Put some more jet engines in, quite simply, and keep them in this rough area. They're not really covered here, but they're somewhat covered as such, and as I say, we can go forward and backwards. Now I'll put the second section just in here, so that's going to give it our new limit. Okay, and I'll do the same at the back. So we will go 2 in here, then up 1, and along, put them in first, air, jet engine down. We might spread them out a little bit. One reason is obviously if a missile came in here and knocked them out, then it would be totally and utterly shite. It would stop working, to say the least. We'll also need to protect our stabilizers for the same reason. If something comes in and attacks them. Now, one good thing about stabilizers, is they don't need any gap above or below them. Now, I know we've got the engine here for the moment, and that may well change the position of the engine, or I might have multiple engines. Where's the centre line? I lost the centre line. Let's have a look under here. Okay, just about here. These ones, stabilizers, can just go simply like on here, like that. We'll work something out for a little bit of protection, but as long as they're facing, if you put a jet stabilizer like that, it will actually work in the opposite direction. So you do have to make sure you put these relative to the center of mass. Okay, so that's our little platform, which should roughly stay around the 100-meter mark, although it seems to be going up to 150 now. And going over to the side, so maybe our stabilizers are not working. If we go into this view, we can see which stabilizers are working. Now these things, they're sucking, they're not pushing, which may sound a bit weird, but that seems to be the way they work. So have I missed out some of these ones on main? Yes, see that one, no, that's one staying main. I'm just not seeing it. Oh, it is putting thrust there. There is thrust going there. It does seem to be going to the side though more than it did previously when we last did it. Let's see if I just put more of these in there. Does that gonna have an effect? Now we're constantly going up as well. So have I deleted? I know what I did. I deleted the height-based control blocks. Dull. If altitude greater than, we'll set it now at 100 just for the moment, so it's down there. Desired speed, airspeed 0.1. And if altitude less than 100, desired speed, airspeed 5. There we go. So that will sink now back down again. I'm guessing slowly. We'll take out most of these again. I just want to see whether that does balance it. It must have been something was just making that unbalanced, but obviously doesn't help. We've got all 4 of them are actually applying force, so that's an easy way. And here we go. Right, so we're going to change this one little bit so it doesn't dish out quite so much. I say speed is 1. Okay, excellent. So that's the first part of this. So next we need to look at, I'm going to take this off, there we go. So next we need to look at is how we're going to dock the aircraft and where we're going to put them. Now I'm going to have some guns pointing down. I'm going to put a whole shed load of armour on this base here, I think. A lot of, mostly a lot of wood beams. Partially because I like wood beams, then shield the outside of them in wood. But in the whilst I'm waiting to do that, before I do that though, I'm going to put in some AA defense from the Condor. Now I've got to remember how deep this is. Let's say that's the front. So we're going to have a couple of systems at the front, I think, first primarily. One about here. Now I think it's too deep, so if that's the front of the ship, actually let's go back this way. going to say back about this far. It's going to point out there, and we'll sort that one out in a second. Maybe about there. Or in fact, we can just use the fact that there's a block there. No, just there. There we go. Now I think it's needs 2 deep. So we will make this here, there, 2, and 3 high. And now let's just see if we go to load sub-object, plane AA, precision turret, and by default it's going to point downwards. Our target's going to be, no, by default it's going to point forwards. There we go. So let's go there. Is that too big or too small, or is that actually about right? No, it needs 1 more depth. Now I could build it out here, but what I think I'll do is this. Yep, thank you. Free up there, and we'll try that one more time. Plane AAA, precision turret, just there. Yes, that looks quite nice. And then we'll do the same here. That's an artifact of what's already there. Cross, whoops, and that one goes in there, so that's 2 there. And then I will do another one similar. Yeah, at the front as well. I'm going to have both these guns roughly at the front, and I might upgun them. I might increase the barrel lengths on both of these. So let's see. Let's assume the engine I'm going to put a little bit further back than this in the final build, so we might relocate this engine a little bit. There. Just working out where the points are going to be. If I increase those, I obviously don't want these hitting each other. So we now fail-safes gave me some problems last time I tried using them, but we'll give them a go again. We never know, it might just be one of those having a moment type of situations. And I'll put some more ammo boxes on these guns as well, maybe just give them a little bit more oomph, so to speak. Let's see. Okay, we can come out there and take that one off, put that one in, and yeah. How many blocks is it going forward? It's going a couple of blocks. If we increase the, and just have that going across, plane AA. I can have this one firing forward as well, or I could have this one pointing backwards. So we'll go forward as well. And what we'll do is we will have to sort out this using firing arcs, so it doesn't try and blow the crap out of itself. You can see obviously there's a great opportunity to blow this, so these rear ones will have to have a limited arc firing out in that direction, and the inner one there. And yeah, okay, we will just also might as well have the rear facing ones as well. Why not? Let's put some back here, which is going to be our rear defense in case someone gets behind us. So why not? I like these. I think this will be quite cool. Right. 1, 2, whoops, 3. Put them about. Let's get this range right. About there. 1, 2. It's a little close to those engines. Yeah, I think I'll bring it forward a little bit away. There. There we go. Put some of those on there, because they'll need to be put on there anyway. So then we'll go our plane AI, and these ones will face backwards by default. Make sure I get the level correct so that they are equal. There we go. So that's some extra sort of AI. Now, because we're going to be going a bit high, what I might do is just redo one of these, resave it, and then put it all onto all of them. Now, what I can do is put some more ammo boxes in here and increase that barrel length, I think, a little bit. Maybe, how much room have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can increase it by 4 and it won't impede on each other. So we can increase the barrel length a little bit, and maybe the gauge just a minor bit. Put a gauge in here somewhere, just to give it a little bit more oomph, so to speak, before we put it in. But I'll do that later. I'll do this at this second. What the bit we'll still work out is this is still the central core. So we're going to make sure this is very well armoured, obviously, because this is going to be the central part for the vehicle. So I want to make sure that we've got as much possible defence as we can. Is that, if I put that there, is that going through that? I don't think that will work. That seems to suggest it's going through, but I'm going to leave a gap there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to need a gap there. I don't believe that that would be a working solution just there, despite what it seems to suggest with the block. That one there, and then that one just up to it. That one I need to put some blocks in, or how many got? 1, 2, 3. Or I've got to move this back a little. I was going to move that engine. No, okay. Or I can move it forward 2, but then I can't put as many blocks. I said 4 on the barrels, which would be 2 motor and 2 normal. So I'll leave that. Let's just put a couple of blocks in there. Sort out these stabilizers later. Need to get these done. Boom. I can re-put them in a second. We've got a block difference here. Why would that be? Have we got a hole somewhere? Have we got something which is acting as a hole? Potentially, is it just there? Has that potentially got a hole there? Let's just go into this mode. Let's see if I've got a block or somewhere out of alignment. Somewhere here. No, it looks okay. Okay, that's not. So that should be full. Should be solid. There shouldn't be any gap. There's no need for a gap here. That's right, let's just go here, metal block, and go forward and see if I intersect with a green somewhere. No. Ah, here we are. No, that's the one I know. So go forward a little bit further. Is it here? No. Certain that didn't go green there. Ah, there we are. So this one here was wrong. Okay, so we go all the way through there. Thank you. Thank you, computer. I appreciate your help in this matter. one out, and then go all the way forward, and then there we go. Has to be lined up. If it's not perfectly aligned, my brain will complain later on. Yeah, I don't know how, there is going to be a little gap here, which we will have to fill in with some blocks. Which is the equivalent, is due to the 2 blocks that I need to put in here. Metal block, tinka tinka, ka-ching ka-ching. There we go. Excellent. Okay. I'll put some stabilizers on here quickly, just to see what happens. So jet stabilizers could potentially go in here. So if I now just do this and get my jet stabilizers, jet stabilizers, get them faced the right way, and then go in here. So you don't have to be on the outside. So if I now take off my control, let's see if that is being controlled. Yeah, it's a little bit wavery as such, you know, but that's fine. It's turning a little bit to the right. There's some imbalance there somewhere. You can see how it's pushing itself over, and now it's in the water. Don't think it's going to get out of the water. Let's see if I do that now. Will it try and raise up? There we go. Oh, it's not quite enough. Might need some more power to raise itself up now. It's not got enough. It's surprising how heavy this bugger's getting. Which is, I did say, you know, this could be a heavy bugger. Main. These are all on main. They are now. They think it's all over. It is now. Right, we'll have to obviously give this the front of this nice bit of protection. We might have to change some of these thrusters to be large. Oops, that's not the one I wanted to do. Let's put that back before it all goes completely ping-pong. Right, that's the one I want to take away. The other thing with these thrusters is I could put some just in the middle, which are not... I may be doing too many of these here, which are having an effect on the pitch. Instead, I should put a load in the centre, which is what I'll most probably do once we fill this out and we've got the full weight. Some in the centre which are just for pitching, just supplying lift only. Okay, so we've got here, we're going over. It is tipping over though a lot. Don't like that. We'll have to see what we can do about that. I don't know if doing this ailerons is going to have an effect. Might do. It's worth a try. Basically, ailerons as close as you can to the centre of gravity, centre of balance, and as far out as you can go. Now these obviously aren't out as far as I would like, but we'll see in here if they have an effect. They're not balancing it at the moment, possibly because this doesn't have an AI to balance it with. Okay. So we've got partially this hull complete, but we're a long way away from completing it. So I just need to sort out this balance. The stabilizers are not working as I would like, so something is either unbalancing it, which is we're going to have to allow it. It is going to get unbalanced. There's no way it's going to be perfect, so we've got to have a system that realizes that. Now there is one other way we can do this. In that at the moment we have these, and they have a we need to change this so they have a delay of 1, but they work all over the ship. Delay of 1, but they actually said it took 4. And then what I'm going to do is a slightly different set of thrusters. Let's give this a go. We're going to have a second set of thrusters just here, which is going to be controlled by a separate set of control blocks. So these two control blocks are setting the whole vehicle based on the centre line height, effectively. And now this could actually be one of the problems, but okay, I'm not going to do that. So, because this height is based upon where the control block is, not the centre of the vehicle. So now, if I create, let's see, where's the centre of the vehicle? Is about where this engine is, which is a bit annoying. But I'm going to put one control block here. So we've got a maximum of 4. Now what we're going to set is these to do 5. So, but only to ones close to it. So if the altitude is less than 100, desired speed, airspeed 5. But only within a range of, say, 10 blocks, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that should be about right. And this one is exactly the same. So if altitude less than 100, desired speed, airspeed 5, and 10 blocks. Now, by giving that little bit of, what's the best way of putting it? I'm going to call it a stutter, in that these are going to be affected before. So these are going to give a little bump to the left or the right, and that's the intention. Let's just put 4 in. Main. So these are going to basically give us roll actuation based upon the control blocks. Obviously, if we had a roll rate, we've got pitch angle. If we had roll rate in the control blocks, then we could do even more, you know. So let's see how that performs. See if these have an effect. You can see they are just giving it a nudge, a little extra nudge when it goes. That roll is, whichever side hits below 100 first will get a little extra block of 5 in theory. Or no, it stopped working. The idea was sound, but it got to a point where the other side also was both below, and they both started to do down. Now, okay, one thing we can do is that up down is here. Set it to 1. What if we set it slightly down to, say, 3? Is that high enough or low enough? Let's see. So we want it to raise, and then when it gets to 100, it will effectively slow. We don't want it to necessarily go off. So these ones should be both at 5. Alright, set this. No. I just realised what I've done wrong. Okay. I need to use drive fraction there, not speed. Right. So, if this side goes greater, then propulsion drive fraction go to half speed. So these go to half speed sooner. And let's see, if altitude, I might need to put 2 in here. If altitude, let's just work this out. Let's look at what this one is. I need to set one that does the opposite as well on each side. Okay, so if it's below, less than, set it to half. If it's greater than 100, set. No, okay, wrong way around on that. Propulsion, set drive fraction, range 10. Okay, so if it is greater than, then slow down. We want you to stop you being a thrust. So there we go. Puffer goes down to 0.1, 10% power. Yeah. If it's less than, then we want you to be providing full power, because you've got to push us up as fast as you can. So same here. So when altitude is less than, propulsion components set drive fraction within 10 to 1. When the altitude is greater than the 100, propulsion component set factor go to 0.1. Okay, let's see how this one goes. So now we're changing this drive fraction here to make these just try and puff a little bit around the 100 mark. So now they're on the 100. As one side or the other drops down or below 100, it should give more or less thrust. It's still pushing it over. Set to 1. Yeah, it's pushed it all the way over again. Okay. Right, I'm going to hold it here. I need to work out how to do this particular section. So, when I've worked it out, I will come back. And welcome back. Managed to get the drive balanced finally, and what I did was, let's just get rid of the mirror line for a second, is given an AI with 0 roll, 180, and some ailerons, and some roll elevators here. And that seemed to a slight thrust forward. As you can see, the speed's not great, 9-10, which is fine. That's just enough for it to move around, and that worked quite well for it, actually. To be frankly honest, that seemed to do the business. As such, so doesn't make it quick, but it's now stabilising itself. And if I was to just try and unstabilise it, put some lead blocks on one of these sides just to see what happens. And if we go to the view, we should see it stabilise it. So that's not losing control now, even though we're putting a whole load of weight on one side to destabilise it. It's starting to go a little bit there. Starting to have a little bit of a problem. That's a considerable amount of weight I've just put on there. If I chop that off, it goes back again. So we could increase the ailerons and also change some of the rollaways. It's not necessarily greatly stable, this, and I can look at the delay actions on here to set them a little bit, but it's not too bad. And with that slight thrust, can use a small amount of tail at the back etc., just to give it that like little bit of balance. As such, we can also, to increase the balance forward and back, put a few jet stabilizers here as well. I'm going to put a few like that, and that should help stabilize that as well. You can see it's starting to work on the stabilization in that direction. Oh, need to put some on this side as well. Just for them. That will help to stabilize it a little bit as well, forward and back on the pitch angle. Okay, but we're mainly controlling this using the control blocks. It's just that the roll motion had to be AI controlled with ailerons, and also these engines you can set to have roll reversers. So they will a right hand side roll reverse. So they're roll on left hand side, right hand side, which is great. We can set them, and they're also helping to just roll it when necessary. Okay, that's the end of this particular part of this build. I'm going to separate this into a couple of builds. We've got the basic hull now ready. Just the guns and a few bits and pieces, but nothing major now. Most of this is in a situation which is usable, or in a position we can use. Just need to put some fire control computers in for the guns, and then we should be fine. Put a top on this, a front of course, and then we can look at the docking procedure. But the main bit we've done is a thruster balancing platform, which we can use for our carrier and start really heavily armouring this up. So, until next time, where hopefully you're just going to see the docking system, and I'll have finished off this hull. So, until next time, have fun.